I'm 82. My name is Alex. I've spent my entire life running away from the horizon, always striving to see what lay beyond the next mountain. But today, I don't want to talk about the height of the peaks, the depth of the jungles, or the secrets of the glaciers. Instead, I want to tell you a wild love story about how we conquered half the world together, about our shared adventures, and about the one who held my safety line while I dangled over the abyss. I want to tell you about the person who was my compass when I was lost in the fog, and who was my home when the entire world became our roof. People look at me and see an old man living out his days in silence, surrounded by books and memories. But when I close my eyes, I'm still there. I can feel the biting frost of Everest, the heat of the scorching Sahara sands, and the sticky, humid weight of the Amazon. I hear the cries of wild birds and the whistle of the wind through the mountain peaks. Fate brought us together, or rather, a shared Nepalese hostel that smelled of sweat, spices, and dreams. I was 24, sitting at a rickety wooden table trying to untangle a knot in my bootlace, when her voice caught my attention. She was sitting in the corner under the glow of a dim light bulb, stitching up a torn backpack with incredible focus. And she was swearing, not just cursing, but doing it masterfully with such passion and humor, peppering her speech with the local dialect that I fell in love instantly. That was Julia. My Julia. She wasn't a traveler's wife in the traditional sense. She was a force of nature, the very embodiment of freedom and grit. In her eyes burned the same fire as in mine, a thirst for adventure, a thirst for life. We talked until dawn over cups of strong Nepalese tea, and by the time the first rays of sun touched the Himalayan peaks, we had made up our minds. Our lives would not be trapped within four walls. We wouldn't buy a sofa on credit, and we wouldn't save our dreams for retirement. We would buy 2 one-way tickets. Where? It didn't matter, as long as we were together. Where? It didn't matter, as long as we were together. Our first serious ascent was in the Andes, Mount Aconcagua. The height seemed endless, and the air was far too thin to breathe. I remember hitting 5,000 meters when altitude sickness took hold of me. My head felt like it was splitting open. My lungs burned with every breath, and the world narrowed down to a single desire: to turn back, lie in the snow, and fall asleep. I was on the edge. Weakness gripped my body, and fear clouded my mind. But Julia, she just sat down beside me. She didn't say a word. She just pressed her icy helmet against mine, and I could feel her warmth even through the thick fabric of my jacket. Then she whispered, her voice raspy from the cold, yet so strong. "Don't look at your feet, Alex. Look at the stars. They're closer here than they are at home. They're leading us." In that moment, staring at the scatter of diamonds across the black velvet sky, I felt my strength return. It wasn't physical strength, but something deeper, a strength of spirit she always knew how to awaken in me. We slept in a single tent while a blizzard raged outside, powerful enough to toss a truck or tear the canvas to shreds. It felt like the world was about to collapse. In those moments, you realize that love isn't flowers in a vase, pretty words, or romantic dinners. It's sharing the last sip of warm water, knowing there are 10 more hours of freezing cold before morning. It's giving away your only pair of dry socks, even though your own feet are soaking wet. It's the willingness to shield someone from the icy wind, even as you're shivering yourself. In the mountains, you truly get to know a person, and I learned that Julia was both my anchor and my wings. After the frozen peaks and the thin mountain air, we dove into the opposite extreme, the heart of the Amazon. We spent 3 months in a small boat and then on foot, hacking through walls of vines and dense vegetation. The air was so thick with humidity, you felt like you could drink it. The sun couldn't penetrate the heavy canopy, creating a perpetual twilight. We lived off the land, eating exotic fruits, fish caught from the boat, and sometimes, with the help of local guides, things far more exotic. We fought off mosquitoes the size of my fist and nagging insects that seemed to be everywhere. Once, we got lost. Our guide contracted malaria, and we were left alone in the middle of an endless green labyrinth. Water and food supplies were dwindling. The days were unbearably hot, the nights bone-chillingly damp, and filled with 1,000 unfamiliar sounds. We walked for days, navigating by the sun, desperately trying to find the river. I started to lose hope, feeling insignificant against the raw, primal power of nature. But Julia, she found the strength to joke and tell me stories from her childhood. She sang to drown out the fear, and her voice, so familiar, so full of life, was the only thing keeping me from despair. It was she who spotted the thin trickle of water that eventually led us to a tributary and then to a small village. There, in the silence of the tropical night, to the sound of cicadas and croaking frogs, we spoke about children for the first time. Julia curled up against me and whispered how she imagined our little one playing in a dusty village courtyard or sitting in the boat. And I wanted that. I saw what a wonderful mother she would be. But we were in the middle of an expedition. Another trek through unexplored jungle lay ahead. We pushed it off until later, until next year, until the next country, until the next continent. We thought we had all eternity, being so young and strong that the world was at our feet. How wrong we were. Here lies the first lesson, my friends, and perhaps the most painful one. Here lies the first lesson, my friends, and perhaps the most painful one. And I saw almost everything I wanted to see. I followed in the footsteps of great explorers, climbed above the clouds, and descended into the deepest canyons. But for every yes you give to adventure, for every step down an unknown path, you say no to something else. I saw islands born from volcanic ash, but I never held a son or daughter of my own. I heard the languages of dozens of tribes, but I never heard my own child's first words. I saw the cherry blossoms bloom in Japan and desert roses in Arabia, but I never saw a smile bloom on my child's face the first time they laughed. Now, at 82, in this empty house filled only with the echoes of memories, I realize my photos in National Geographic won't bring me a glass of water when I'm thirsty. My medals for bravery won't ask, "Dad, how was your day?" My stories won't hold me on a cold night. That is the price I paid for my passion, for my absolute, all-consuming freedom. And if you ask me if it was worth it, I'll stay silent, because back then, through all those years, I had Julia, her love, her support, and her laughter were my most precious treasures. As long as she was by my side, the question didn't matter. She was everything. But now there is only an echo in this house. Julia left me 2 years ago. Quietly, in her sleep. It was as if she simply drifted off after a long, happy day. It happened in our bed, in the house we finally built. She always said her greatest summit was me, the world of mine that she shared, and mine was her. Without her, the world lost its color, its sound, its edge. All that's left is the taste of dust and fatigue. On our last trip together, when we were already in our 70s, we returned to those same glaciers, not to the highest peaks, but to the foothills, where we could just breathe the frosty air and listen to the silence. We weren't climbing rocks or risking our lives anymore. We just sat at the base, wrapped in a blanket, watching the slow movement of the ice and the play of light and shadow on the ancient stone. She took my hand. Her palm was thin and wrinkled now, but still just as warm and familiar. We saw more than most could ever dream of. Don't regret a thing. Our adventure wasn't in vain. We lived fully, and that life was overflowing with love. I'm looking at you through the screen, at every one of you. You're young, full of energy, drive, and ambition. Go, conquer. The world is waiting for your discoveries. I love you.